In the cold silence of deep space, the starship Voyager drifted near the edge of known territory, its hull scarred from battles long past. Inside the dimly lit medical bay, a lone figure stirred. She was not human yet. She wore human clothes. Her silver skin shimmered faintly under the soft lights. Her eyes, large and violet, blinked slowly as if waking from a dream that lasted years. Her name was Luna, though that was not the name she was born with the alien king. Her father had named her Zira, but when he handed her over to the human captain, he insisted she take a new name. Something soft, something that would not remind others of her royal blood or her weakness. Luna was small for her kind, her limbs thin, her voice quiet. She had never held a weapon, never shouted, never fought. She spent her days in the palace gardens watching stars through crystal domes while her brothers trained in the war chambers. Her people, the Kale, valued strength above all else, and Luna had none the king made. His choice during the peace summit, the humans had saved his fleet from the Void Raiders. Their courage, their unity impressed him. But more than that, he saw something in their eyes, compassion. A strange thing to the Kale. So he offered his weakest child as a gesture of trust, a living bridge between species. Captain Diane Foster accepted the gift, though she did not see Luna as a gift. At first, she saw a frightened girl wrapped in silk robes, trembling as she stepped onto the human ship. Diane was tall, with short brown hair and steady hands. She had lost her own daughter years ago in a colony raid, and something in Luna's wide eyes made her heart ache. First, Luna stayed in her quarters, barely speaking, eating little. She flinched at loud noises and avoided the crew. She watched them through the door crack as they laughed, shared stories, fixed engines. She did not understand their jokes, but she liked the sound of their voices. The Voyager was not like the palace. It was loud, messy, and full of life. Wires hung from ceilings. Tools clattered on floors. Meals were served in metal trays, not crystal bowls. Yet there was warmth here, a kind Luna had never known. Diane visited every day. She did not push Luna to talk. She just sat on the edge of the bed and told stories about Earth, about oceans and trees, about fireflies that glowed in summer nights. Luna listened silently, but her eyes followed Diane's every move. One evening, Diane brought a small plant, a green shoot, in a clear pot. "This is for you," she said. "It needs light and water just like you. It will grow if you care for it." Luna touched the leaves gently, then nodded. Days turned into weeks. Luna began to leave her room. She walked the halls slowly at first, then with more confidence she helped in the kitchen, washing dishes, folding napkins. She watched the engineers work and once even handed a wrench to Chief Taylor, who grinned and said, "Good eye, kids." She still did not speak much, but she smiled sometimes, a small quiet thing that made the crew feel lighter. Then came the attack. It happened without warning during a routine scan of a dead asteroid field. Alarms blared, red lights flashed, the ship shook violently. Luna was in the mess hall holding her plant. When the first blast hit, she dropped it. The pot shattered, but she did not cry, she froze. Captain Diane's voice crackled over the comms, "All hands to battle stations." Pirates from the fringe systems had tracked them, hoping to steal their cargo and maybe the ship itself. Crew members ran past Luna shouting orders. She pressed herself against the wall, heart pounding. She wanted to hide, but something stopped her. She thought of Diane's stories of fireflies, small but brave. She ran toward the bridge. Smoke filled the corridor. Bodies lay still, some moving, some not. She found Diane slumped against a wall, blood on her temple, but alive. Diane looked at Luna and whispered, "Go to the armory. Take the pulse rifle. You know how it works. I taught you." Luna shook her head. "No, I cannot. You must," Diane said, her voice weak but firm. "Your people think you are weak, but you are not. You just have not been tested." Luna hesitated, then ran her bare feet slapping against the cold floor. She reached the armory, hands shaking. As she grabbed the weapon, it felt heavy. Alien but familiar. She had watched Diane clean it a dozen times. She moved through the ship like a ghost. Silent, careful, she found two pirates in the engine room arguing over control panels. Luna raised the rifle, her hand steady now, her breath slow. She fired once, then twice. The pirates fell without a sound. She did not feel fear. She felt focus. More pirates came. She met them in the mess hall, in the med bay, in the cargo hold. Each time she moved faster. Each time her aim grew truer, something inside her woke up. Not rage, not anger, but purpose. By the time Diane recovered, Luna stood at the bridge window staring at the drifting pirate ship. Her silver skin streaked with soot. Her violet eyes sharp and clear. "You saved us," Diane said softly. Luna turned. "I did not save anyone. I just did what needed to be done." From that day, Luna trained every day. She ran laps in the corridors, lifted weights, studied tactics. She asked the crew questions, learned their names, their stories. She even started to laugh sometimes. A quiet sound like wind through glass bells. Months passed. The Voyager returned to human space, then prepared to head back toward Kale territory. The king had not contacted them since the exchange. Diane worried he would reject his daughter, now changed, but Luna did not care. She was not the same girl he gave away. She stood on the observation deck one night looking at the stars. The plant she had replanted in a new pot sat on the ledge green, and strong Diane joined her. "You ready to go back?" Luna nodded. "I am not going back as Zyra. I am going as Lunadian," smiled. "Then you are ready." The ship turned its nose toward the red suns of Kale space engines humming softly. Luna touched the leaves of her plant, then looked ahead. She did not know what waited for her on her home world. But for the first time in her life, she was not afraid. The Voyager entered Kale space under a red sky, the twin suns casting long shadows over the obsidian towers of the royal city below. Thousands of Kale warriors stood in perfect rows, their armor gleaming, their faces unreadable as the human ship descended slowly on silent thrusters. Luna stood at the ramp, her heart steady, her uniform clean, her boots polished. She wore no crown, no jewels, only the small human insignia on her shoulder, a gift from Diane, who waited aboard the ship ready to leave if things turned bad. The king stepped forward, tall and stern. His silver eyes fixed on his daughter, he said nothing at first, just studied her, as if she were a stranger. "You return different," he said finally, his voice low, like distant thunder. "I am still your daughter," Luna replied. "But I am also more." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some warriors frowned. Others leaned forward, curious. The king gestured to a massive figure standing near the front of the formation. "Our champion Korak. He has never lost a match in the Ring of Honor. Face him, if you wish to prove you belong here." Luna did not hesitate. "I accept." The Ring of Honor was a wide circle of black stone in the center of the city, surrounded by silent onlookers. The air was thick with heat and expectation. Korak entered first, his footsteps shaking the ground. He stood over 7 feet tall, his body covered in scars and battle tattoos. His eyes burned with pride. "You were given away like a broken tool," he said loud enough for all to hear. "Now you come back thinking you are strong. You are still just a whisper in the wind." Luna walked into the ring barehanded. She wore no armor, only her simple uniform. She looked small next to him, but her posture was straight, her gaze unwavering. The king raised his hand. The match began. Korak charged with a roar, his fists like stone. Luna sidestepped. His first swing rolled under his arm and kicked hard at the back of his knee. He stumbled but caught himself, turned fast, and swung again. She ducked. The blow whistled over her head. She darted in, grabbed his wrist, twisted, and used his own weight to throw him onto the stone. Gasps rose from the crowd. Korak jumped up, furious. He swung wildly this time. Luna blocked with her forearm, absorbed. The shock encountered with a sharp jab to his ribs, then another to his jaw. He staggered back, eyes wide. She followed with a spinning kick to his chest. He crashed down, the stone cracked beneath his back. Silence fell heavy and deep. Korak lay still for a moment, then slowly pushed himself up. He looked at Luna. Not with anger, but with respect. He bowed his head low. The king stepped into the ring, his face unreadable. He walked to Luna and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You were never frail," he said. Softly, "You were just waiting for your fire to find its spark." Luna looked at him, then at the crowd, then at the sky. "I'm not just Kale," she said, "and not just human. I am both, and I will protect both." The king nodded, then turned to his people. "This is your princess, not because I say so, but because she earned it." Cheers rose, not loud at first, but growing stronger until the whole city seemed to hum with pride. Even the warriors who once sneered now stood tall with pride in their eyes. That night, a feast was held in the Great Hall. Luna sat at the high table beside her father for the first time, not as a burden but as an equal. She ate with her hands. Like the others, laughed at old war stories and even told one of her own about fixing a broken engine with duct tape and hope after the feast. She walked alone through the palace gardens, the same ones where she once hid from the world. The crystal domes still glowed under the twin moons. But now they felt different. Smaller Diane found her there. "You did good, kid," Diane said, leaning against a stone pillar. Luna smiled. "I could not have done it without you." "Maybe," Diane said. "But you chose to stand up. You chose to fight. You chose to come back not as the girl they remembered but as who you are now." They sat in silence for a while, watching the stars. "What now?" Luna asked. Ian pulled out a data pad. A distress signal came in from the outer rim. "A human colony is under siege by slavers. They need help." Luna stood. "I am coming with you." "Are you sure the king might not let you leave so soon?" "He will," she said, "because he finally sees me not as weak but as useful." The next morning, Luna stood before her father in the throne room. "I ask permission to leave," she said. "The humans need aid, and I can help." The king studied her, then nodded. "You have proven your worth, go. But remember, you carry the honor of the Kale with you." "Thank you, father." He placed a small silver band on her wrist, a royal seal forged from star metal. "It will open any Kale gate. It will call our fleet if you are in true danger." Luna bowed, then turned and walked out. In the hangar, her new ship waited, small fast, built with both Kale and human tech. Sleek silver hull with blue human markings on the wings. She climbed aboard, powered the engines, and lifted into the red sky below. The king watched her go, pride and sorrow in his eyes. She was no longer his frail daughter. She was Luna, warrior of two worlds, as the ship pierced the clouds and entered the starry dark. Luna set her course not toward war but toward hope. She knew battles would come. She was ready. Somewhere out there, Diane was waiting, and together they would show the galaxy that strength was not just in muscle or claws or fire, but in heart and choice, in the courage to change. The stars stretched before her, endless and bright, and Luna flew into them without fear. Days later, the signal grew stronger. The colony was on a small moon orbiting a gas giant. Smoke rose from its surface. Scanners showed slaver ships patrolling the skies. Diane's voice came over the comms. "Stay sharp, Luna. They have heavy weapons. I am ready." Luna replied. She dropped from orbit, fast and silent, her ship cloaked in Kale stealth tech. She targeted the slaver command ship, fired 2 plasma torpedoes. Direct hits. The ship exploded in a bloom of fire. Chaos erupted. Below, Luna landed near the colony gates, armed with a pulse rifle and a Kale energy blade. Colonists ran toward her, some wounded, some carrying children. She formed a line with Diane and a few brave locals. The slavers came on foot, angry and armed. Luna did not shout. She did not rage. She moved like water, fast, precise. Every shot counted. Every step had purpose. Within an hour, it was over. The slavers fled. The colony was safe. That night, the people thanked her, offered food, shelter. Rest. Luna sat by a fire, Diane beside her. "You know," Diane said, "you could stay here, be a hero." Luna looked at the stars. "No, my place is out there where help is needed." Diane nodded, then smiled. "You really have changed." Luna smiled back, but not too much, and as the fire crackled under the alien sky. Luna knew this was only the beginning. Weeks passed since the rescue on the outer rim moon. Luna and Diane had become a known pair across the frontier. Human outposts and Kale border stations alike sent word when trouble stirred. They came not with fleets, but with speed, with silence, with precision. Their ship, now named the Twin Star, carried the marks of many battles, small dense scorches and one patched wing. But it flew true and fast. Luna had painted a silver crescent on its side, a symbol of both her worlds. On evening, they received a coded message, not from a colony, not from a military post, but from deep inside neutral space. The sender used old Kale royal encryption. Luna recognized it at once. It was from her youngest brother Kale, and he had never spoken to her before. Always quiet, always watching from the shadows of the palace. Now his words were urgent. "Sister, the council moves against father. They say he is weak for trusting humans. They plan to remove him by force. Come if you can." Luna read the message 3 times. Her hands did not shake, but her breath grew tight. "We have to go," Diane said. "Already plotting a course. It is dangerous," Luna replied. "The council controls the inner guard. They will see me as a traitor. Then we go quiet. Diane said, "No flags, no signals, just us." They arrived under cover of a solar storm. The Kale homeworld sensors blinded by radiation. The twin star slipped through the upper atmosphere like a shadow landing in the old royal gardens, where Luna once hid as a child. The palace was dark, no torches, no guards at the main gate. Something was wrong. They moved through the corridors silent and swift. Luna knew every turn, every hidden door. She led Diane through service tunnels past sleeping chambers into the heart of the palace. In the throne room, the king sat, bound, his crown gone, his face bruised. Council leader Vorik stood over him holding the royal scepter. "You gave our blood to outsiders." Vorik snarled. "You made us look soft." The king lifted his head. "I made us wise. Then you die as a fool." Before Vorik could raise the scepter, Luna stepped from the shadows. "I would not do that," she said. Vorik spun, eyes wide. "You," she walked forward. Diane behind her, rifle ready but not raised. "You think strength is in cruelty," Luna said, "but real strength is in choice, in honor, and protecting those who cannot protect themselves." Vorik laughed. "You were nothing once, and you are still nothing." He lunged, not at her, but at the king. Luna moved faster. She caught his arm, twisted it hard. The scepter clattered to the floor. She kicked his knee. He fell to one knee. Gasping guards rushed in from the side but stopped when they saw who stood over. "Vorik, it is over," Luna said to them. "Your loyalty is to the crown, not to fear." One by one, the guards lowered their weapons. Korak stepped forward, the same warrior she had beaten in the ring. He bowed, then turned to the others. "This is the true heir. She has the heart of the Kale and the mind of the stars." The king was freed, his eyes filled with pride, not just for his daughter but for the leader she had become. That night the council was disbanded. Those who plotted were exiled, not killed. Luna insisted on mercy. A human idea, the king now understood. In the days that followed, Luna worked with her father and brother to rebuild trust between the Kyle and the outer systems. She opened trade routes, allowed human medics into Kyle space, and sent Kyle engineers to help rebuild damaged colonies. Diane stayed aboard the Twin Star, but visited often, bringing stories, news, and sometimes just quiet company. One afternoon, Luna stood on the palace balcony watching ships come and go from the spaceport below. Her brother joined her. "You ever miss the quiet life?" he asked. "The gardens, the stars through the dome." "Sometimes," she said, "but the quiet life did not save anyone." He nodded, then handed her a small box. Inside was a new insignia, a blend of Kale silver and human steelware. "It when you fly?" He said so. "All will know you speak for both." She pinned it to her jacket. Weeks later, a new call came, this time from the far rim, a signal weak and broken but familiar. It was from an old human science vessel the Horizon lost for years. Diane's eyes lit up. "That was my first ship." They tracked the signal to a dead zone near a black hole. The Horizon was half buried in an asteroid. Its hull cracked, but power still flickered inside. They boarded with caution. The ship was empty. No bodies, no logs, just silence and cold. In the main lab, they found something strange. A stasis pod. Humming softly inside was a girl no older than 16, human but with faint silver lines along her skin like Luna's. She woke slowly, blinking in the light. "Where am I?" she whispered. "Safe," Luna said, kneeling beside the pod. The girl looked at Luna. Then, at Diane, tears filled her eyes. "They took my parents. They said I was special because of the mix." Luna's blood ran cold. "Who did this?" "The Void Weavers," she said. "They are making more like Median." And Luna exchanged a look. The Void Weavers were a myth, a ghost story told to scare young pilots, but now it seemed they were real and they were experimenting with human Kale hybrids. "We have to stop them," Luna said, "but we do not know where they are." Diane replied. The girl pointed to a star chart on the wall. "One system circled in red here." She said their main base. Luna helped the girl up. Her name was Maya, and she was scared but strong. Just like Luna had been, back on the Twin Star, they made a plan. No big fleet, no warning, just to strike fast and clean us. They flew toward the red system. Luna looked at Mia sleeping in the bunk below. She saw herself in that girl, fragile but full of fire. Dean sat beside her. We are not just saving her, Luna. We are saving what we almost lost. Luna nodded. The Void Weavers would learn that some things cannot be made in lab, some things like courage, like heart, like the bond between two worlds, are earned, and Luna would make sure they paid for what they had done. The twin star dropped out of warp. Near a dark moon hidden behind a gas giant, scanners showed a massive underground facility. Luna armed herself, checked her blade, looked at Diane. Ready, ready. They launched the assault not as soldiers but as guardians, and the stars watched in silence as the warrior of two worlds went to war for the future. The twin star hovered in the shadow of the gas giant. Its engines silent, its hull dark against the void below the moon's surface, pulsed with faint red lights marking the hidden base of the void. Weavers, Luna watched from the cockpit. Her fingers steady on the controls beside her. Diane checked her rifle one last time. Mia sat in the back, eyes wide but jaw set. We go in fast. Luna said. No noise? No warnings? Diane nodded. Open the east vent. It is the least guarded. They landed on a rocky ledge, the wind howling around them cold and sharp. They moved like ghosts down the slope to the vent cover. Luna pried it open with her blade and slipped inside. Diane followed. Then Maya, the tunnel was narrow and damp. Pipes ran along the walls, dripping with strange fluids. The air smelled of metal and something sour like old chemicals. They moved slowly, listening for voices, for footsteps. Deep inside, they found the lab's rows of stasis pods lined the walls, each holding a child. Some human, some Kale, some like Mia with silver lines on their skin, all sleeping, all trapped. Luna's chest tightened. She touched the glass of one pod, a boy no older than 10, his face peaceful, but his arms marked with injection scars. They are making soldiers. Diane whispered, not people. No, Luna said, they are trying to make me. She remembered the weakness, the fear, the silence before the fire woke in her. These children had not been given a chance to find their own spark. They split up. Diane went to disable the security grid. Mia stayed near the entrance as Lookout Luna moved deeper into the base toward the control room. She found it guarded by two tall figures in black armor, their faces hidden behind smooth masks. They carried strange weapons humming with dark energy. Luna did not speak. She threw a small device Diane had made. It released a pulse that fried their weapons. They turned fast, but she was faster. She struck one in the throat with her elbow. He fell gasping, the other swung. She ducked, kicked his knee. Heard it crack, he dropped. She entered the control room alone. Inside, a figure stood over a large screen showing every pod, every hallway, every heartbeat. The figure turned. It was not alien. It was human. Older, with cold eyes and a scar down one cheek. You are too late, he said. The final batch is already awake. As if on cue, a door slid open and 10 children stepped out. But they were not children anymore. Their eyes glowed red, their movements stiff like machines. They are ours now, he said. Luna stepped forward. You do not own them, the man laughed. Then pressed a button. Alarms blared, red lights flashed. The children charged. Luna met them not with rage but with sorrow. She dodged the first strike, grabbed his arm, and twisted hard enough to break the control. Chip in his neck, he collapsed, eyes clearing for a moment before going still. She moved to the next, same move. Same result. The man backed away, shouting into a comms unit. Send the enforcers. Heavy footsteps echoed down the hall. Diane's voice crackled. In Luna's ear, I'm coming, hold on, Luna said. She fought 3 more children, freeing them one by one each time her heart ached. They were just like her, once lost, waiting for someone to see them. Then the enforcers arrived, huge armored warriors with glowing eyes and weapons that burned the air. Luna knew she could not win alone. But she did not have to. The main door exploded inward. Kale warriors poured in, led by Korak and her brother Kalen behind them. Human Marines followed Diane at their head. The king had sent help. Chaos erupted, fire and steel filled the room. Luna ran to the control panel and smashed it with her fist. The stasis pods hissed open one by one. The children inside began to wake. Maya ran in, helping the younger ones stand. The man in the scar tried to escape. Luna caught him at the exit. Why, she asked simply. Because your kind is rare, he said, strong but soft. We wanted to make an army that feels no fear. No pain, no love. Love is not weakness. Luna said, "It is what makes us fight." She handed him over to the Kale guards and the hours that followed the base was cleared. The children, taken to safety medics from both species, worked together to remove the chips, to heal the wounds, outside under the red moon. Luna stood with Diane and, "Kalen, you called Father," Kalen said. "I did," Luna replied. "He said you would come. He believes in you," Kalen said. We all dove back on the Twin Star. The rescued children slept in warm bunks wrapped in soft blankets. Mia sat with Luna on the observation deck. "Will they be okay?" she asked. "Some will carry scars," Luna said, "but they will not be alone." Diane joined them holding 3 cups of hot drink. She handed one to each. "You know," Diane said, "this changes everything. How before we were just helping here and there, now we have proof that someone is trying to break the peace between our people. That means we have to do more than react. We have to protect." Luna looked at the stars, then at the sleeping children. "Then we build something new," she said. "A place where hybrids, like Maya, are not experiments, but people where Kale and humans train together, learn together, stand together." Diane smiled. "Sounds like a school or a home." Luna said, "Weeks later, on a quiet moon near the border, they began to build it, stone by stone, wall by wall, the first academy for unity. It would teach language, history, combat, medicine. And most of all, trust." Luna stood in the center of the empty courtyard, the wind tugging at her jacket. Diane beside her, Kalen overseeing the Kale workers. Human, engineers laying power lines. A small hand tugged her sleeve. Luna turned. Maya stood there holding a plant, a green shoot in a clear pot, just like the one Diane had given Luna long ago. For the school, Maya said, it needs light and water, just like Uz. Luna took it gently and placed it in the center of the courtyard. "Let it grow," she said, and as the twin sun set behind the rising walls, Luna knew this was not the end of her story. It was the beginning of something greater, a future built not on fear but on hope, and she would guard it with every breath she had. Months passed since the Academy's first stone was laid. Now buildings rose from the moon's gray soil. Gardens bloomed under clear domes and voices filled the air. Not just human or Kyle, but both mixed in laughter, lessons, and songs. Luna walked the paths every morning, checking on classes, watching students train. Some were former stasis children like Mia, now strong and bright. Others were young Kyle sent by their families or human teens from frontier colonies, all learning to fight not for war but for peace. Diane ran the defense program, teaching tactics and field medicine. While Kalen led history and honor studies, Luna taught something else: balance, how to stand between two worlds without falling. After noon, a signal came. Not a distress call, but a greeting from a distant system unknown to both human and Kale records. The message was simple: we seek the School of Unity. Luna met Diane and Kalen in the command room. The screen showed a ship unlike any they had seen, smooth and organic like a living shell. Its markings were strange curling symbols that pulsed with soft blue light. "They are not hostile," Diane said. "Scanners show no weapons, but they are not alone." Kalen pointed to smaller ships trailing behind like shadows. Luna studied the main vessel, then made her choice: let them land, but keep our guards ready. The ship touched down in the outer field, silent and graceful. A ramp lowered, and figures stepped out. Tall, slender beings with skin like polished stone and eyes that shimmered like water. They moved slowly, respectful. Their leader, a female with silver bands around her arms, stepped forward. "I am Naira of the Sylph," she said, her voice melodic. "We have watched your school from afar. You do what no one else has tried. You build trust, not walls." "Why now?" Luna asked. "Because the Void Weavers did not work alone," Naira replied. "They had help from the Fractured Ones, a group that broke from our people long ago. They believe purity comes through control, not connection. They see your school as a threat." Luna felt a chill, but her voice stayed calm. "What do you want to stand with you?" Naira said. "If you will have us." Diane looked at Luna, then nodded slightly. "We accept," Luna said, "but you must follow our rules. No secrets, no weapons. Inside the walls near about, we agree." The Sylph stayed in guest quarters that night, and by morning they were already helping in the gardens. Their knowledge of bio-light plants made the domes glow brighter than ever. But peace never lasted long. 3 days later, alarms blared across the moon. Scanners showed a fleet dropping out of warp, black ships sharp and jagged like broken glass at their center. flew a banner with a cracked circle, the mark of the fractured ones. They sent a message: surrender. The hybrids and the schooler be erased. Luna stood on the command deck, her crew around her, students gathered in the courtyard below. Not hiding but waiting. We do not run. Diane said. We do not break. Kalen added. Luna opened a channel to all ships. All. People, this is Luna of the Twin Star. The fractured ones think fear will make us small, but we are not small. We are many and we stand together. Cheers rose from the courtyard, from the Silth ships, from the Kale patrol above. The battle began not with fire but with silence. The fractured fleet expected surrender. They got resistance. Diane led the human fighters fast and sharp. Kalen commanded the Royal Guard strong and steady. The Silth ships moved like water, weaving through enemy lines, disabling engines, not destroying lives. On the ground, Luna stood with the students, not as a general but as a shield. She taught them to hold lines, to protect the weak, to use the terrain. The fractured ones landed troops thinking the school was soft. They were wrong. Mia led a group of young hybrids through the lower tunnels, using old academy blueprints to trap invaders in sealed halls. Others used sonic emitters built in class to disorient attackers. Luna faced their commander in the main courtyard, a tall Silth male with eyes full of hate. You mix what should stay pure. He snarled. No, Luna said, you fear what you do not understand. He lunged. She met him not with anger but with speed. She dodged his blade, struck his wrist, disarmed him, kicked his knee. He fell. You could have been great with us, he gasped. I'm great as I am, she replied. She did not kill him. She called for Silth guards to take him. Naira arrived and placed a binding band on his wrist. This ends now, Naira said to her broken kin. The fractured fleet retreated, broken and scattered. After the battle, the moon was quiet but not sad. Students helped repair walls. Medics tended the wounded. Even former enemies received care. That night, a celebration began. Not loud, but warm fires lit the courtyards. Food was shared, stories told under the stars. Naira found Luna on the edge of the garden. You showed us a new way. She said, not to conquer, but to hold. Luna looked at the school, at the faces of children who once hid. Now standing tall, we are not building an army, she said, we are building a home. And homes are worth fighting for. In the weeks that followed, more ships came, not to attack, but to join a human colony. Sent teachers, a Kale clan. Sent warriors to train as peacekeepers. Even a fractured scout ship landed, its crew asking for forgiveness and a chance to learn. The school grew not just in size but in heart. Luna still flew missions with Diane when needed, but now she always returned to the moon, to the students who called her teacher, not princess, not warrior, just Luna. One evening, she stood in the central courtyard where Mia's plant now stood tall, its leaves wide and green under the twin suns. Diane joined her, leaning on the railing. You ever think about going back to just flying? She asked. Luna smiled. No, this is where I belong. Diane nodded. Me too, above them. The stars burned bright, endless, and full of promise, and in that quiet moment Luna knew the galaxy was not saved by one hero or one battle. It was saved by small choices, by open doors, by hands reaching across differences, by a frail girl who became a bridge, and by the many who chose to walk across it together.